Hello, and welcome to my TED Talk. Today, I will be discussing how to build professional student-teacher relationships. To begin, let's ask ourselves, what is a relationship? Many people might think a relationship consists of two people who are in love, people who have close family ties, or friends that spend time with one another. However, it is much more than this. A relationship is a connection, association, or involvement with another individual. This could mean by blood or marriage, this could be an emotional connection, or it could be a physical connection. As humans, we build relationships in almost everything we do. Whether it is asking your local grocery store clerk how their weekend was, giving your grandmother a call in the evening, or sharing a coffee with a couple of coworkers, relationships are all around us. Now, it is important to be aware of the fact that there are different types of relationships. Romantic relationships, platonic relationships, family relationships, acquaintance relationships, and professional relationships are all connections you may encounter at some point in your life. As mentioned before, today we will be focusing on professional relationships. A professional relationship is an ongoing interaction between two people that observe a set of established boundaries or limits to which are deemed appropriate under governing ethical standards. For example, during an intense surgical procedure, it may be asked that one of the workers wipes the sweat off of another worker's brow if their hands are not free. In this environment, this action is considered acceptable. However, if you were to walk into a clothing store and noticed one worker wiping the sweat off of another worker's brow, the professional relationship may raise concern. The environment that we'll be focused on today is a school, and the professional relationship we are exploring is the one held between the student and the teacher. Before we look into what the relationship between these two individuals looks like, let's understand why building a professional relationship between a teacher and a student is important. It has been proven through research that relationships between a student and their teacher has important positive, long-lasting implications for both the student's academic and social development. These relationships cause the student to be more likely to trust the teacher, show more engagement in learning, behave better in class, and achieve higher levels academically. In addition, personal relations with children afford teachers internal rewards and give meaning to their work. Research shows that teachers who have developed positive professional relationships with their students have an overall healthier level of well-being. It is clear that having a positive relationship benefits both the student and the teacher. So now I ask you, how are these relationships built? Building a strong student-teacher relationship involves dedication and a lot of hard work. To begin developing this relationship, an educator must consider the 4 phases of relationship building. 1. Attunement. 2. Relatedness. 3. Supportiveness. And 4. Gentle discipline. Attunement describes how reactive a person is to another's emotional needs and moods. A teacher who is well attuned with their students will respond with appropriate language and behaviors based on the student's emotional state. The relationship between the teacher and the student may become stronger when the teacher is able to recognize the moods and emotions that their students portray. Attunement is built strongly from nonverbal communication that we may not always be aware of. For example, when a student approaches the teacher will often respond with a facial expression, body position, eye movement, or a change in the tone of voice they're using. For teachers to become more attuned to their students, they need to understand how important it is to listen to the individual before they respond. Giving appropriate responses to a student's emotional state can be difficult at times, which is why taking time to construct and deliver an appropriate response is a crucial piece when building relationships. The need for relatedness refers to the desire to become connected to and experience caring for other people and the feeling of belonging to a group or community. For a teacher, developing relatedness with their students can be challenging. A few strategies that may help with creating a sense of relatedness is to give students more personal one-on-one interactions rather than always addressing the class as a whole. Relatedness can also be built by welcoming each student at the beginning of the day and asking students about their interests outside of school, such as sports, music, movies, etc. When relatedness is created, the teacher will often experience a positive connection with their student. Being a supportive teacher means holding students accountable while providing the support they need to succeed. Creating opportunities for decision-making is of great importance when acting as a supportive educator. For example, giving students choices in assignments, engaging students in developing classroom rules, and encouraging students to express their opinions are all ways that an educator can provide support for their students. Being a supportive teacher is based on encouraging students to work hard rather than demanding them to. When you demand a student to do a task, they are more likely not as willing to put in the work and effort. Being supportive towards students shows that the educator believes in their ability to succeed and pushes them to be the best they can be not only as learners but as people. Lastly, when building a student-teacher relationship, the educator must put gentle discipline to use. Gentle discipline is a positive approach that focuses on teaching students the appropriate behavior without using punishment. Punishing students can harm the student-teacher relationship and make it difficult to maintain the student's respect, trust, and appreciation for the educator. Gentle discipline puts an emphasis on the importance of a student's physical and emotional safety by having the educator analyze a particular situation with the student rather than punishing them. If a student is punished without knowing what they did wrong, they are more likely to repeat the inappropriate behavior. Gentle discipline works on building relationships between teachers and students because it avoids the possibility of damaging a student's emotional state, while still teaching them how to act in a more appropriate manner. Gentle discipline works to continue building the student-teacher relationship in a positive way. Thinking back to relationships I had developed with my previous educators, I realized there was a lot of shared respect and trust for one another. But I was unsure as to where that exactly came from. It's not like I showed up on the first day and was immediately comfortable with these teachers. I have come to the realization that throughout the school year, my teachers worked on attunement, relatedness, supportiveness, and gentle discipline with me in order to generate the relationships we eventually had. As I continue on my journey towards becoming an educator, building professional relationships with my future students is a skill that I will continue working on. One aspect that I currently struggle with is determining how to build a professional relationship with my students rather than a friendship. Prior to my research, I assumed that building relationships with students was all about joking around with them, asking them about their personal life, and exploring their hobbies and interests. I had never taken the time to explore how mutual respect and trust is developed between a teacher and their student. As a teacher, of course I want my students to like me. However, I must remember that establishing mutual respect and trust between my student and myself needs to transpire early on in order to maintain my professional identity. In addition, I must also work towards not grouping students as a whole, but as different individuals in order to gain a stronger one-on-one connection. I understand that student-teacher relationships are not built in a day. They take time, dedication, and hard work to create and maintain throughout the school year. As I continue on my journey towards becoming an educator, I look forward to the relationships I will build with my future students. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a good night.